Hercules. Hercules. And now I live in LA. I started making music probably just like all you guys, like banging on pots and pans and little whatever you could find. You know what I mean? Like, and graduated into trying to make a living selling beats to your homies and whatever you can do. Um, Went to school and signed with Sky Blaze, which is Guapale's production company or label at the time. She was under Sony, so we were able to get some work done and get it out. Um, After a couple of years, over at the old Sky Blaze building in Emeryville, I don't know if some of you guys have been there.
I've been there.
Yeah, no longer exists, but we moved from there, and it was a company called Diggity Dope at the time, which was basically Dave and his music label. That's what he was calling it. Moved out of there, and then they bought this building, and then started building this as a record label, as an all-encompassing record label. It was a lawyers' offices. There was Independent Media was in this room here. Elliot Kahn was the lawyer here, and Sky Blaze had a room in that room there. So this place looked a lot different back then, but since then, they took that and added the tech element and just a different thought process and turned it into Zoo Labs. Through that process, I was here just producing, honing my craft. Imagine just kind of being out of school for a year or two, working with an artist, and then being in here every day, sleeping on the couch and hiding in every room whenever you can, just to get some time to make music. After that, I left here because I kind of just wanted to pursue a different process of making music and income stream. So I left, moved to LA, slept on some park benches, went couch surfing. Eventually got an apartment, and I was working with Rafael Sadiq because I ended up getting an apartment right next to his studio. So that was like family because when I went to school, his nephew was my roommate. So I just kind of, yeah, exactly. And then we started working, got a couple of placements through him, and then moved on. And then I started working with Tyga about 2-3 years ago. And then I started going out on the road with him, and we became real tight. And we released 30 to 40, 50 songs or so, a couple mixtapes, a couple albums. And then we lived together, kept making music. And then I moved out from him, was able to get my own stuff. And then now I have 2 studios in North Hollywood that I get to rent out, and I do my own thing. And I come back here from time to time just to kind of stay tapped in because where I work with, it's crazy. Most people that I work with in LA are actually from the Bay. It's just like my circle. It's funny how it happens. I don't know, but it's just it just happens that way. So I always end up coming back here, finding new talent and talking to people. Food's better, so my family's here. So yeah, that's my short story in a nutshell. But I'm actually curious to you guys to know, first off, who's artists, producers, management, who we got in here? Most artists mostly. Producer, engineers, more management. Okay. Engineer?
I make beats.
I don't
call myself a producer, though.
Okay. All right. But that's key, though, to understand the difference. Mm-hmm. Even for artists, I'll say it's key to understand the difference of the person that you're having in your session. Like, are you going to dedicate all your time to somebody who's going to come and make beats for you? Do you need a producer? Or can you kind of produce it yourself? A lot of people can. Some can't. Some songs need a 30 or something like that. So So that is important to know. I see that all the time to where even with a lot of signed artists with A&Rs that will just put their artist in a room with somebody that just he'll play beats all day, but then the song is only going to be so good because you're limited to what that artist can do. As we're working here or as we're talking here, I want to know what your guys' version of success is. Like as an artist, what do you want to get out of? I'm just gonna go around the room, but what do you want to get out of your career as an artist?
Starting with me.
I'll start with you.
Self-expression, freedom, and the ability to keep all of my people like gainfully employed with like positions of self-expression and freedom for them as well.
Okay. Do you mean your people as in your immediate circle, or do you family, or is it family and friends? Are we talking?
It starts to get really extensive, but yeah, it's like gradually build from where I can. Okay. So it's like if we can go on like a little tour together and we're all eating, that's great. But then it's like eventually even it's like I got a partner who's locked up. Like we can get him out. It's like he can come straight out into something. It's like so that may be more like business goals than like as an artist. So maybe let me call him that for the artist question. I'd say artistically, definitely like self-expression, freedom, and to resonate with the people.
Okay. I think that's I think what every artist would love to do, right? What about you, my man?
Not an artist, but
management.
But yeah, I think similarly to that is just finding a way to create something that's sustainable, right?
Business-wise.
Exactly. A lot of artists just last 1 or 2 years most of the time, or maybe they have a one-hit wonder. Create something that's long-lasting, because especially the people I work with are very creative in a lot of different endeavors, not just from music to podcasts to different types of stuff. So how can you create that sort of, not just music, but more like media collective that everyone can live off of and really just completely devote themselves to their art.
Okay. How about you?
I think either in working with artists or just like in something that I put out or make, like the ability to successfully materialize a concept that transmits to at least one person, but like successfully. Obviously, as many people as possible, but like being able to materialize through music, like something that you really care about, in a way that is digestible and can be consumed by that other person. Yeah.
Okay.
Clarifying question. Do you mean the warm and fuzzy, like, what do you mean to get across as an artist? Or what is success like as the career?
What I think they're one and the same. Kind of, right?
Well, I mean, if I were to answer the question from a warm and fuzzy place, I would say I want to inspire people to be their best self. I want to make music and experiences and so forth that disarms people and makes them feel comfortable about being themselves. But as a as a business person or as a career, I intend to be an internationally respected force in music, media, and merchandising. So, like, certainly they work together, but
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah,
man, I just want to do what I love. I love to create. I want to monetize what I love. I want to feed my grandchildren. I don't even have grandkids yet, but I want to feed my grandchildren off my art. And so I'm navigating and learning how I can be successful. And when my door open, I'm busting it down.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I think everybody touched on a lot of the desires that most people who enter into this field, want. So yeah, this is what I love to do. Just like he said, this is what I love to do. I want to be able to do it and continue on doing it. Because as an adult and the world is everything is getting more and more expensive every day. You can't just be like, I just want to create the dopest shit. I want to actually get something from it, you know. And I want to stand in that place where we all, like, as you know, people who love music growing up, we watch that place. I want to stand in that place that, you know, I have spectated upon throughout my for as long as I can remember. And the reason why, though, is, you know, of course, for my own personal, you know, stability and also, you know, prosperity. But I want to be an example for the people that I already have. In, you know, for those that don't know, like I'm part of the crew Hieroglyphics, and we got a bunch of artists in our crew. And I feel like all too often, just, you know, people from a certain class in our society, we feel like success is for other people, not us. We looking at other people do their thing. So in that way, we're looking for the avenue to success through people outside of the people that you are around and that you deal with. And for us, that's even more of a salient point. I'm not sure if that's the right words, but we already doing it. We own property together. Cats have put out music together. We got plaques on the wall, the whole nine. But we still, to a certain degree, you know, have the same mentality of of people who have never had any experiences in the music business, you know. And I want to be an example of, like, okay, especially me, because I think I've experienced less of the things than the rest of the crew has. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it would actually, you know, it would turn things on their head from in my little circle for it to be me that is the one that's standing in that place, and so everybody can, you know, feel like the possibilities for us to do it from within our, you know, circle of, you know, independence and, you know, partnership, ownership of what we got going, and we can make something greater happen. And that's just the next link in the chain for success as an artist, period. I mean, we all want to ball out. We all want to go on tour around the world and shit and do the fly shit that music is all about, you know.
Keys. What's that, bro?
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I like that. What about you, Ryan?
I guess for me, success is about, like, further developing into a holistic person for myself. Like, I do a lot of different art practices, and I feel like the ability to create is holy to a certain extent. So for me, success is around becoming a better person through the work, and also respecting whatever the gift is, and how to this day it's still coming to me. So I'm thankful for that, and I feel like the ability to meet my work where it is. So I think most of our work travels further than we might physically travel. But I found that, like, success for me is actually being in the country where, you know, my work is too, right? Like, not just being here, like, because of course I think that was a different idea of success at the beginning. I want music to be there. It's like, oh, now I want to be there with my music, right? I want to be there with my dance. I want to catch up with my own fire in that sense, right? That's what success looks like for me.
That's a very spiritual. For me, success is being able to have my music interpreted by as many people across the board as humanly possible. And I always felt like the more people heard my music, the happier I'll be, and the more money I'll make. So it's kind of go hand in hand with each other. If one person hears my music, I'm going to get paid for one person hearing my music. And I think when I make my music, I want to make something that's a little bit more on a broader spectrum. I want you to be able to interpret it. You might feel a little bit differently than his interpretation of the sound, but you both heard it and it makes you feel a certain way. I think a lot of music that's out there right now, you don't necessarily it's a little bit harder to connect with. I don't know, like when the last time you went to a club and all you heard was just drums, just 808 and drums and a vocal. It's like, well, I don't really, I can connect with this movement right now, but I'm not really feeling what this person is trying to tell me on this side. So you don't really, you don't take anything from it. So like if you can learn something when you listen to my music, then I always feel like that's better for me. So that's what success is for me as far as music. I think what a lot of you guys are saying is that you want people to resonate with your music, and you want to make people feel, and you want to have success. The question I have for you is, at what cost are you willing to have that, to give that up?
Brother.
What are you willing to give? Yeah. What are you willing to give up? Like, because a lot of people creatively, a lot of artists will creatively say, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. I'm not going outside of that. No matter what or how many people try to say, well, you could try this, you could try this, they go down this lane. And for some, it's successful. You know, for a lot, it isn't. So at what point do you say, okay, well, maybe I need to change my thought process, or maybe this is it and I'm going for it and this is going to work? We've talked a lot about the differences between being independent and going through a major label, which always was, I never really understood until I moved, what the difference actually is. Every big name artist that is truly on that level is signed. Some kind of deal with somebody. There's somebody pouring money into them. You can't deny it. That's just what it is. As an independent, you have more freedom. You can make the music that you want to. You can put out music whenever you want. You don't have to answer to anybody. It's a lot more fun. But when it comes to like being tactical and actually putting out something that you want to sell as a product, when you're dealing with a major label, it's just a lot different. I'm getting off topic here.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is also designed to be like a conversation.
Yeah,
so
please tell me whatever you want to hear. Insult me, whatever. I don't care.
We have some.
Oh man, I'm sure you're holding back roast this whole time. Good to see you, dude.
We have some questions, and y'all feel free to chime in, and then we're down to do like a pass the aux and have y'all share your music, and we can all like give some feedback. I'll turn the live feed off when we get to that.
This is live?
Just this conversation part.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to just wait.
Oh, it is? I didn't know that.
I'm going to just wait.
You've been good. You've been kosher, PC. But just for a few minutes longer, and then we can turn it off.
You said there's a huge difference between being an independent and being signed.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think we can all see there's a huge difference. Mm-hmm. Your experience,
what has it been?
Yeah.
For me as a producer, the way that I'm able to operate with independent versus label is just different. Because if I have somebody that's independent, even if I want to take a chance on them, let's say I want to do a whole project. I really believe in this artist. I'm now taking on all the risk as a producer. So essentially, I'm becoming the label. That's not really what I wanted. I'm not a label. I want to make music. I can put your record together, sure, no problem. But now I'm taking on all the responsibility of trying to package it, trying to sell it, trying to develop the direction for the artist. And sometimes I can do that, but it's always good to have a partner, right? So is just me, or is it these 100 other people that are also pushing this goal? So it makes things a little bit easier. It's like, are you willing to work with others, or do you just want to kind of do it yourself? And then when the times comes to, mixing, mastering, looking for distribution, that means I now have to leverage all of my relationships versus the label just saying, it's a different question. Say, hey, Chris, I need you to play keys on this record for me, please. He's gonna do it because he's my homie. But I would much rather say, Chris, here's $1,000. Do this. He bigger smile. like he's like, here's an hour of your time. Like, and that's just the difference. And that's the difference between when I really, really need him, between him picking up the phone call a little reluctantly because he knows now that
it's how fast you'll get it back.
It's how fast I'll get it back too. Like, he's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll knock this out right now. Versus, all right, well, I got these other things I got to get to. Like, you know,
it's the same thing. Like when you want to take lessons, like from an instrument, and you take it from your friend, you learn a couple things, and you're like, yeah, we'll meet next week, and you do it. Mm-hmm. You might pick up a couple things, but when you pay for a lesson, you know, you go home and you're like, I got to get my money's worth, blah blah blah. Yeah. It's like the reverse effect. So if someone pays you for something, you're treating the same way.
Yeah.
But that was a segue into one of my questions, which is like, how do you leverage your network for your projects? Like, is it all money? Is it and how do you build those relationships?
Okay, how you build your relationships? For me, where you're from, who you know, always helps. And then you gotta insert yourself into the community that you want to be a part of. Where do they eat? Where do they go out? What do they do on the weekends? Do they have families? Do they have a family member that you might know? Whatever it takes to get in that circle, you just have to do it. It might feel a little pushy at times, but sometimes going to a club that, like we were saying before, where you know somebody's going to be or a group of people are going to be multiple times every weekend, being a regular, knowing the bouncer, knowing the one of the waitresses, whatever, just so they feed you free drinks when they come to the table. You know, just be personable and just build your relationships however you can. Getting in on as many sessions as you can, even if you're not playing anything, even if you don't play any of your music, just go in there and just be a fly on the wall. Just talk to people. Like, just build your network as much as possible. When you see somebody on the street, don't be afraid to talk to them. You don't necessarily have to tell them who you are or what you do. Just meet them. Be a person first. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, I remember you. You're like, yeah, such and such. Oh, yeah, I do whatever. But I appreciated what you did for this. I liked this, what you put out. Just wanted to tell you that. Then later hit them up on Instagram. Yo, once again, just wanted to tell you that I liked your shit. Okay, cool. Now they've seen you twice. Once in person, once on the gram. If you see them again, they're like, oh, yeah, I remember you. There you go. Now you got a relationship, no matter who it is. You'd be surprised, a lot of these people who you think are untouchable are very personable, and they want to know who you are because they don't want to be left out either. I send records to a lot of A&Rs and stuff, and they're like, oh, thank you. Like, you'd be surprised of how much music they don't get because people are saying to themselves, oh, I gotta wait to finish this. This isn't quite done. As creatives, we've all done it. I love this, but it's not just, I need to do this last little thing before I send it out. I got to get it mixed, or I got to just send a record, man. People, I have a network thing where I do now where people are actually paying somebody else to put me in an email thread. Imagine that.
Wait, what? Rewind?
That's success right there.
But do you get any of that?
The money,
Someone else is getting paid to put you
in an email thread with them, with artists, producers, whoever wants to send music to submit for production, whatever it is. What do I get out of it? I get all this music given to me. So now I get to say, okay, well, let's take this part, let's do co-production credit, boom, boom, and do the paperwork, send it out, go. Now everybody wins.
I got a quick question, kind of going back a little bit, but it's a for me, like, as an artist that is independent, and I'm a do-it-yourself type of artist. I make these, I record myself the whole nine. So independent. So the question of the journey of independence and the destination of success. You got a lot of big time artists that pretty much brag about being independent, right? Like I read an interview about this artist named Russ, I think.
I assume that's what you were talking about.
So on one place he's talking about like I do everything myself. I got to this place on my own. Why should I start hiring?
Can you turn this live off?
Yeah.
I wanna.
Okay, say bye.
Peace.
Come through next time.